Hello OSA, Taras here. Welcome to another episode of our running series, What is a Fish? Today we're going to be covering one of my dear favorites. This is the Calliamididae. These are their Dragonets. Many people think like a scooter blenny is a blenny. It's not. It's actually a Dragonet. And it's in the same family as one of the most famous aquarium fish of all time, which is the Mandarin Dragonet or the spotted Dragonet. These are really neat fish. They're really neat fish. They are really not pristine open reef fish. I've seen them in the wild. They like these muddy lagoon bottoms, the area where essentially it's the solids filter of the real coral reef. And they hang out around all these kind of tolerant acropora that are in the mud, and they make their little dens, and they just feast on copepods, amphipods, fish larvae, lobster larvae, crab larvae, shrimp larvae, all day. The Dragonets are designed to be the eviscerators and destructors of all things microscopic and crustacean. One of the biggest challenges people had when initially trying to introduce them into the hobby was not having stable water quality per se, or being able to house them, as they have very modified fins and they don't really require a lot of water volume to be comfortable for their locomotion, and they don't necessarily need a lot of water volume to keep stable water quality. I mean, they can't have ammonia spikes or anything, but they're not nearly as susceptible as some of the more open reef fish to nitrates and the like. However, they need live feed. They need copepods, amphipods, isopods, any invertebrate that can be propagated inside the reef tank, inside the live rock. So having the most complex structure you can to be able to house the forage for this particular class of fish is crucial for success. And that limited people's success in the hobby with them for years, because even the ones that were able to take in frozen feed, no one could really feed them enough frozen feed per day to keep weight on them without this knowledge that they really required round-the-clock foraging, especially because a lot of their activity is at night. One of the things I had a great privilege to do is back when I was in college, I studied at James Cook University in Australia, and I worked with Lu Sheng Xiao, who's a graduate student trying to aquaculture this particular species, at least the red Mandarin Dragonet. And I learned about their fantastic mating and courtship ritual, which I later learned, trying to observe it, is the bane of many divers, because you have to be out at the full moon, at the middle of the night, and you're underwater in the sludge pit, and you're watching these coral clumps that are only the size of like a volleyball, and then all of a sudden, the male and female Dragonet rise up, and they start doing an intertwining dance. And as they're doing the intertwining dance, all of a sudden, poof, 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 pelagic sperm and eggs are launched, and then I got the great opportunity to be able to work with some of these eggs and early larvae. They are literally these microscopic emerald teardrops. And you have to be extremely careful with them, and it takes a while for them to grow. But the key to having success with them was when they were young, pelagic copepod larvae, and growing them out, the key was just flushing them. We took giant clumps of macroalgae and just basically dosed them with pods every single day, and then enriched those pods. So the Calliamididae, the Dragonets, the scooter blennies, in order to have success with them, give them constant copepod forage, have lots of complex rock work, and I recommend a larger aquarium so that you can have the forage required to house these guys. But otherwise, one of the most majestic and fantastic and psychedelic fish family members we have in the reef trade. So as always, if there's any aquarium subjects, fish families, or subfamilies or species you want us to share a light on, comment below, subscribe. If you need any fish gear, visit us at www.osachoice.com and feed that algorithm like it was a hungry Dragonet, pepping at pods.